Brittney Griner is playing a game, and this is what Brittney Griner calls. I was not going to comment on any of this stuff until this took place. Watch what she says. The entire internet has reacted to this. Here's Brittney Griner. They're playing against the Indiana Fever, and look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
Or the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier.
Patrick Bet-David just torched Brittney Griner, and the internet's on fire right now. The Valuetainment boss didn't bite his tongue for even a second after seeing that viral clip where Griner took a cheap shot at Caitlin Clark. He came in swinging, and let's just say, it wasn't pretty. Griner thought she could get away with it, but Patrick made sure everyone saw right through her.
The ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
What he said next? It shook the entire internet. Brittney Griner's probably regretting ever opening her mouth, let alone stepping on that court. Patrick Bet-David didn't just call her out, he ripped into her. Now people are wondering, was he too savage? Or did Griner have it coming after that disrespectful jab at Caitlin Clark?
That pretty much sounds like trash effing white girl.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
So the whole market reacts to this.
Let's be real. Patrick Bet-David didn't just speak his mind. He obliterated Brittney Griner on one of the most brutal rants sports media has ever seen. Griner? She's probably still stunned, trying to figure out what just hit her. The Valuetainment king didn't hold back at all. This wasn't some polite disagreement, it was a full-blown takedown that ripped into everything that's broken in today's WNBA culture. So what triggered this firestorm? It all started with what should have been just a routine basketball moment. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese clashed on the court. Reese shoved one of Clark's teammates, and Clark responded with a foul. But then Reese went full drama mode, pulled a flop so fake, Patrick called it straight out of the LeBron playbook. You know, hit the floor like a sniper took her out. But it didn't stop there. No, it got dumber. Instead of calling it what it was, a normal play, some media clowns had to twist it. Suddenly, it was about race. According to Bet-David, guys like DeMarcus Cousins jumped in, claiming Clark gets special treatment because she's white. Just like that, a simple foul turned into a ridiculous race-fueled mess. And Patrick? He wasn't having any of it. Then Angel Reese made things worse, like way worse. She started tossing out wild, inflammatory comments like she was begging for attention. But the real jaw-dropper? That came when Jemele Hill jumped in with what might be the most laughable take in sports history. PBD nearly exploded. Why? Because Hill actually said Angel Reese could be the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. Yeah, let that nonsense marinate for a second. We're talking about a player who's clanking shots at 22.7% from the field, which might be the worst shooting percentage the league's ever seen, and somehow she's being compared to the GOAT? The same Michael Jordan who carried the NBA? Patrick Bet-David couldn't believe the stupidity, and honestly, neither could anyone with even half a brain. It wasn't just a bad take, it was pure sports delusion, and Patrick made sure everyone knew just how insane it was.
To being able to read the expressions of a person and know their intent, know their character, know their perspective. But he does understand hate, because I think he also understands the hate of self. When you look at the play, which is all we can speak to as professionals, all we can speak to as analysts, Angel Reese put...
But the madness didn't stop there. Nope, it got even uglier. ESPN's Ryan Clark decided to jump into the fire, and instead of adding anything useful, he made it worse. He came after RG3, just because RG3 supported Caitlin Clark. And here's where things went completely off the rails. Ryan Clark actually said RG3's opinion didn't matter, because he's married to a white woman. Yeah, that actually happened. A high-profile ESPN commentator basically said a black man can't speak on race because of who he married. Patrick Bet-David couldn't believe it. He played the clip and looked like he'd seen a ghost. It wasn't just offensive, it was straight up backwards. What kind of message is that? That your love life invalidates your voice? PBD called it what it was: toxic, divisive garbage that's poisoning the entire conversation around women's basketball. But even that train wreck was just the appetizer. The real storm hit when the video dropped of Brittney Griner fouling out against the Indiana Fever. That's when all hell broke loose. On the way out, you can clearly hear her mutter what sounds like, "trash-fying white girl." And that's when Patrick Bet-David lost it. No filters, no holding back. He said what everyone else was too scared to say, that Griner's comment was racist, plain and simple. But PBD wasn't done, not even close. What really lit the fire under him was the hypocrisy. Think about it. This is the same Brittney Griner who was literally swapped for one of the most dangerous men alive, Victor Bout, aka the Merchant of Death. The US government traded a Russian arms dealer to bring her back home. That's the level of sacrifice the country made for her. And now she's out here throwing hate at the very player who's saving the WNBA from complete irrelevance? Bet David tore into that like a man on a mission. He reminded everyone that Caitlin Clark is the reason anyone's even watching the WNBA right now. Ticket sales, up, ratings, soaring, revenue, finally moving. And yet, instead of respect, Caitlin gets this kind of toxic treatment from players like Griner. Patrick called it what it is: entitlement, hypocrisy, and straight up disrespect.
Griner, what she said about the NBA. This is so funny how all this stuff works out, right? She says, this is from Brittney. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. It's called a freaking game that they pay you money to play. Don't play the game.
And just when you thought Brittney Griner couldn't embarrass herself any further, Patrick Bet David dropped another bomb. He exposed quotes, supposedly from Griner herself, that made jaws hit the floor. According to Patrick, Griner was actually complaining about the one thing the WNBA has been begging for years: fans. Real, live, paying fans showing up in the arena. Let that sink in. After years of empty seats and zero buzz, the moment the WNBA finally starts getting some serious attention, thanks to Caitlin Clark, by the way, Griner's biggest issue isn't how to perform better or grow the league. It's that the crowd is too much now? Are you kidding? Patrick couldn't believe the entitlement. He made it crystal clear. This wasn't just tone deaf, it was a slap in the face to the league, the fans, and the very people putting the WNBA on life support. Griner complaining about too many fans is like a restaurant owner mad that people are finally coming to eat. It's the definition of ungrateful. And PBD had zero patience for that kind of nonsense. He called it out for what it was: spoiled, arrogant, and completely out of touch.
Griner voiced frustration in a recent interview, claiming that Caitlin Clark is ruining what used to make the WNBA great. Wait for this.
Empty stands?
Tom, let me just...
Go ahead, I'm so mad.
WNBA games used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now, it's like there's a large gathering of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score, like we're there for their entertainment, and that's pretty gross. Are you
I act like this.
Okay,
Rob, can you verify that this is what she said on the mom and pop WNBA model? That she's sick of the and then she says the whole thing is toxic. I saw a guy with his daughter in the crowd, both of them yelling, couldn't hear what they were saying exactly, but it was either about my performance or some light racism.
And then came the quotes that were so jaw-droppingly ridiculous, people thought they had to be satire. Turns out, they were. But what's shocking is that no one could even tell the difference. That's how real the entitlement has become. These fake but believable quotes had Brittney Griner supposedly whining that the WNBA used to be this quiet, chill space where you could bring your laptop, sip a coffee, and maybe knock out a few emails during the game. You know, real athlete vibes. She allegedly said fans yelling and cheering were putting too much pressure on the players to, wait for it, actually score. Like, oh no, how dare the paying audience expect athletes to entertain them? Patrick Bet David had a field day with this one. And honestly, who could blame him? The fact that satire like this even sounded plausible shows just how twisted things have gotten in the WNBA. PBD made the point loud and clear. The problem isn't just the quotes, it's the culture. A culture where too many players act like attention is a burden, success is a problem, and fans are some kind of nuisance. Think about that. In a league starving for relevance, the moment people start watching, some players act like they're being bothered by support. Patrick didn't hold back. He used those quotes, fake or not, to shine a blinding spotlight on the real attitude problem infecting the league.
WNBA is never, ever, ever going to work and never make money. And this is exactly what Caitlin Clark gets for bending the knee. Do you guys remember when she said, when we lost all respect for her, when she said, I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. And the more we can elevate black women, this is going to be a beautiful thing. That's when it was all over. And Angel Reese and Brittney Griner, they walk around like the league owes them something. Even Ryan Clark's attitude as if, bro, where's the victimhood? These are freaking millionaires. Like, what are you talking about? It's attitude, it's no humility, just entitlement.
But Patrick Bet David didn't just stop at the fake quotes. He used them to torch the entire mindset infecting the WNBA. He made it crystal clear. This isn't about one player. This is about a culture that's slowly sinking the whole league. Instead of being grateful for the spotlight Caitlin Clark dragged onto their barely breathing league, players like Brittney Griner and Angel Reese are stomping around like the WNBA owes them something. Seriously? They act like they're royalty in a crumbling castle. PBD ripped that entitlement wide open. He called out the exact thing fans and sponsors have been side-eyeing for years, this victimhood complex that's running wild. These are millionaire athletes playing in a league that bleeds money every season, kept alive by the NBA like it's on life support. They're backed by sponsors, babied by mainstream media, and somehow they're still playing the poor me card. You'd think they were being oppressed while sitting courtside in designer gear. And when PBD said the WNBA started underwater and now its players are just poking more holes in the boat, brutal, accurate, devastating. They've got a once-in-a-generation talent like Caitlin Clark, someone who could actually rescue this league from becoming a permanent punchline. But instead of rallying around her, they treat her like a threat. They can't stand that she's winning attention they think they're owed, even though they haven't earned it. Bet David also aimed straight at the media machine, coddling Griner and Reese while throwing Clark under the bus. When Clark tried to be diplomatic, bending the knee and talking about white privilege and elevating black women, it backfired. The critics didn't respect her for it. They smelled blood. PBD said it like a boss. Successful systems don't reward whining. They reward performance, discipline, and results. And until the WNBA starts acting like a real professional league instead of a grievance factory, they'll keep spiraling, no matter how many Caitlin Clarks come along. The WNBA isn't just fumbling the bag, they're lighting it on fire. While they bend over backward to protect players who can't hit the broadside of a barn, they're dragging the one player who's actually saving their league through the mud. Patrick Bet David laid the stats bare, and they're flat out embarrassing. Angel Reese, the so-called Michael Jordan of the WNBA, this is a player who's shooting a shocking 22.7% from the field, literally one of the worst shooting percentages in league history. Reese can't even finish around the rim. According to PBD, she's hitting just 43.8% of her shots within 5 feet. Let that sink in. She can't even make layups. And yet the media machine keeps hyping her up while ripping into Caitlin Clark, who's the only reason anyone's even watching these games. PBD didn't hold back. He mocked the absurdity of comparing Reese to Michael Jordan when she can't do what a high school center can. He even said that Karl Anthony Towns, who's routinely called inconsistent in the NBA, would be insulted to be put in the same category. But the real dagger came when Bet David predicted the WNBA's ticking time bomb. He warned that the league is so dependent on Caitlin Clark, if she ever got injured or took time off, the whole thing would collapse like a house of cards. And guess what? That prediction already came true. When Clark was ruled out for 2 weeks, PBD didn't flinch. He said, "Good, let's see what happens to viewership." He knew the truth was coming. Without Clark, the WNBA has nothing. The ratings tank, the stands empty out, and all that fake hype around the other players disappears overnight. This is where PBD made his boldest, most controversial comparison yet. He said Caitlin Clark might just be the Jackie Robinson of the WNBA, not because she's breaking racial barriers, but because she's the first white superstar in a league dominated by black players who's actually facing open hostility from within. This comparison between Caitlin Clark and Jackie Robinson cuts deep, but not in the way the mainstream wants you to think. Jackie faced racist hatred from outside baseball. Clark? She's taking fire from inside her own sport. She's bringing once-in-a-lifetime attention and money into a dying league, and in return, she's being treated like the villain. Both shook up the status quo. Both were game changers. But while Jackie was eventually embraced, Caitlin's being ambushed by jealous peers and race-obsessed commentators. Patrick Bet David tore through the media's spin machine like a buzzsaw. He exposed how figures like Ryan Clark and Jameli Hill aren't talking basketball. They're pushing race-baiting nonsense. Manufactured outrage is their currency, and Caitlin Clark is just the latest target. Instead of hyping up elite competition, they're more focused on identity politics than actual talent. That's not just sad, it's destructive. PBD didn't stop there. He dragged the WNBA's business model through the mud, and rightfully so. A league that bleeds tens of millions every year, kept alive only through NBA charity, is somehow complaining about fans showing up? Griner's issue with a packed house watching Clark is like a store owner whining that too many customers are buying stuff. It's complete madness. With his business background, Bet David sees the WNBA for what it is, a league prioritizing feelings over results. That's why they're flailing financially, even with a golden opportunity in front of them. And it's not just the WNBA. He threw shots at the NBA too. Players like LeBron pushing anti-police, anti-American, pro-China narratives are driving away core fans. People don't want to tune in for a lecture. They want basketball, not political theater. And every time a league forgets that, it bleeds viewers and loses its soul. Clark made the fatal mistake of playing into that political game. Instead of focusing on her game, the thing that makes her special, she got dragged into white privilege statements and calls to uplift Black women. And what did it get her? Nothing. Her critics still attack her. Her supporters are confused and disappointed. She lost credibility on both sides, all because she tried to apologize for her greatness. PBD made the ultimate point. When athletes ditch merit for identity, everyone loses. The WNBA had a chance to turn Caitlin Clark into a global phenomenon and raise the entire sport with her. Instead, they chose drama, division, and destruction. The real test? Viewership during Clark's absence. If the numbers crash, and let's be real, they will, it proves everything PBD said. The other stars aren't stars at all. They're riding her wave while stabbing her in the back. Patrick Bet David didn't just call out Brittney Griner. He nuked the entire culture of entitlement, hypocrisy, and self-sabotage rotting women's basketball from the inside out. It was savage, it was brutal, and it was absolutely necessary. So what do you think? Did PBD go too far, or did he finally say what everyone else was afraid to? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, and hit subscribe for more raw, unfiltered sports commentary that tells the truth no matter how uncomfortable it gets.